Imagine prisoners that have spent their entire lives chained deep inside a cave. They have been chained so that they cannot see behind themselves, and they are forced to stare endlessly at the cave wall in front of them. Behind them, a fire is burning, and between the prisoners and the fire is a raised walkway. Now imagine that each day, a menagerie of objects crosses the walkway. Animals, and people carrying their wares to market. Their shapes create an intricate shadow play on the wall in front of the prisoners. This is the only world that the prisoners have ever known. The shadows and the echoes of unseen objects. Now, imagine that a prisoner is released. After some time adjusting to the blinding light, the freed prisoner will begin to experience the world outside of the cave for the very first time. And it is like nothing he could have ever imagined. With his new perception of the world, the man will of course want to return to his friends to share his incredible discoveries. But the prisoners cannot recognize their old friend. He appears as all things do. His voice is a distorted echo, and his body is a grotesque shadow. They cannot understand his fantastic stories of the world outside of the cave. To them, it will never exist. This, of course, does not make the world outside of the cave any less real.
My views on life were formed, I guess, in childhood. My mother was a single mom, and so she raised me and taught me the importance of things like education and honesty and that kind of stuff.
I would definitely say my parents for the early years, but then, you know, I didn't go to middle school. I went to junior high. Junior high and high school, I would say it was definitely my friends, people I hung out with, and then, you know, but still, if you look down on my deep-seated values and everything, it's what I learned from my parents.
All right, I'd have to say that the person that influenced my views the most was my grandfather growing up. My father wasn't around a whole lot, so he kind of filled that void as a father figure, and he taught me, you know, how to hunt, how to fish. Just the whole time growing up, he taught me how to be a humble person and be respectful to my family member and others growing up.
I guess I have to say that initially my views on life were formed by most immediate contacts, parents, my older sister, perhaps, the community in which we lived, growing up in a kind of a small Texas community, Southern Baptist Church. A lot of views were formed in that. I wasn't exposed to a lot of diversity, either of thought, and so the ideas that were given to me were, as far as I knew, at an early age, about the only ones worth investigating. So up until college, I was pretty locked into those views and those beliefs.
If I could go back, I would tell my high school self that I needed to relax a little bit. I thought the only thing that was meaningful at the time was education and making others happy, and obviously education is important, but I should have, I think, spent a little more time on my social life and my social interactions with friends, because I was just so kind of, I don't know, anal retentive about things that I didn't really enjoy myself. And I feel like I wasted a lot of my high school time.
All right, the main thing I would tell myself in high school, which was not easy for me, middle school, junior high, high school, bullying. I mean, in 7th grade, my friends had an I Hate Donna club. So I would say, quit worrying about what other people think. You know, why do you, it doesn't matter what you wear or it's the person you are. It doesn't matter what this person over here thinks. That's what I would say.
If I could go back to high school and give myself some advice, and I didn't stray too far from this advice, and it's more of probably a message to everybody else that's in high school right now listening to this, is stay close with your family. I'm fortunate enough to have a good relationship with my family, my siblings, and my mother. And when I was in high school, I strayed away from that a little bit, thinking that I was more independent than I really was. And I came to realize soon after, once you start real life, how appreciative you need to be of your family and everything they've done for you. So I would say give the respect that your parents deserve to them, hug them a little tight. They've done a lot for you, all the giving since you were a little kid. So stay close to your family.
If I could go back to high school, I would tell myself that is most meaningful. I think I would encourage my younger self to try to develop friendships with a wide range of people, not to get simply locked into the friend group I was a part of, but to get to explore other people with other ideas, other interests, to listen to people better, and not simply try to thrust my opinions or to only look for people who echoed my same opinions, but to really embrace a diversity of philosophy and belief system and thought. And I would tell him to go be just as much a friend with the jock as with the band geek, for example.
I once believed that you only got one real true love in your life. And then I got older and experienced more relationships and realized that's not true. You get a lot of different loves and different types of loves, and I don't think it's just one. I don't think there's just one person out there for you.
Okay, so growing up, we didn't know my dad's side of the family at all. And he comes from a family where he's one of 9. He's the middle kid. And I was real close to my mom's side of the family. And I really didn't understand that. My mom was very, she knew everything. You could never, like, trick her, or she always knew when I was not telling the truth or trying to do something I wasn't supposed to. And so growing up, I always thought my mom was such a major force and very, very amazing. Well, when I went to college, I met a cousin from my dad's side. And it turns out that the reason why we didn't have any contact with them was because and I figured this out on my own, was that my dad had been married before, and that he didn't have other kids, but he had been married for like 12 years to this other woman. And he's 12 years older than my mom, so that's not really that surprising. But instead of supporting my dad when he got a divorce from this person, they still were in contact with this person they call Aunt Ruth, and my mom was the terrible person. And I can't believe, so it's all about perspective. I can't imagine that people thought we were bad people, bad kids, bad parent, bad mom. I think it's all about perspective, and I never thought that you look at everything from what you're given. The information you're given isn't necessarily what's happening to everyone else.
When I think about things that, maybe I thought I once knew really well and then became enlightened later on was when I was the age of most of you, I thought I knew everything also, just like any other teenager. And you think the way things should be, the way the world runs, always what's best for you. But whenever I branched out and went to college and I was on my own and I was more independent, you realize that you don't know everything in the world at a younger age. You do need your parents, you need some positive influences in your life. Education is huge, continue with that. So it was really eye-opening for me and a good experience.
There have been a number of beliefs, I guess, that I've changed from childhood to adulthood. I guess one of those, just broadly speaking, though, is just coming to a realization that people come from different circumstances, different situations, and not everyone is born at an equal starting line. That we all start at a very staggered place, and that because of that, not everyone has equal opportunity. I think that when I was growing up, that was kind of the belief that if you just worked hard enough and you took full advantage of what was available to you, that you could succeed. And I'm just afraid that there are people who, despite working hard, despite taking full advantage, they don't have the same opportunities available to them that others do.